From long days splashing at the beach to the ongoing race between the sun and your ice cream. Yeah, it's fair to say us Aussies love summer.
Wouldn't it be weird if there was some Pacific Ocean weather pattern came along and there was colder temperatures and heaps more rain this summer?
Yeah, about that.
We've moved into an active La Niña phase out in the tropical Pacific.
Yep, La Niña is back, folks, and it's here to rain on your summer parade. As you might have spotted, if you habla español, La Niña is Spanish for the girl, while El Niño means the boy.
They're opposite ends of something called ENSO, or El Niño Southern Oscillation. And it's all got to do with what happens out in the Pacific and how it affects weather here.
In a normal year, the trade winds blow steadily across the tropical Pacific, and by Christmas there's usually a build-up of warm water over our neck of the woods. Warm water evaporates and brings rain, and it's why the north gets its wet season. A La Niña year is when those trade winds have gone into overdrive, and there's much more warm water over here, which means, yeah, lots of rain.
So typically La Niña brings more rainfall, particularly across northern Australia and into eastern Australia as well. And as that wets up the soils, it does increase the risk of flooding whenever we get a big rainfall event.
The last time we were in La Niña, back in 2010 to 2012, it was the wettest 2-year period in Australia's history. And it brought with it some pretty hectic storms, cyclones, and flooding.
Pretty unreal, eh? The water would just come up so quick, it's just risen.
But every La Niña is different, and the weather experts say this one could be a little milder. While floods are always a possibility, some are hoping this La Niña will mean less bushfire risk over summer. And for farmers, the rain is a sight for sore and rather dry eyes.
We might get an above average rainfall, which will grow lots of grass and fill all the dams and make it an easier season for us next year.
As you probably already know, Australia has been going through one of its worst droughts on record. And some of it has to do with La Niña's hot and dry counterpart, El Niño. El Niño happens when the trade winds over the Pacific get really weak, or even reverse, which means Australia doesn't get its usual share of warm water or rain. Most of our driest and hottest years have coincided with an El Niño. La Niña and El Niño are a natural part of the weather. But while they usually come every 2 to 7 years, we're never really sure when one is around the corner. But experts say we are locked into this drizzly old phase until at least next autumn. So for summer-loving, beach-going Aussies like myself, it might be worth packing an extra brolly for your next trip down the coast.